with me for just a second. 5 seconds. Well, good Monday morning, 3 minutes past 10 o'clock. We're already up to 66 degrees and looking for a high just around 76 today. So it's actually going to be a pretty beautiful day around the Payson area today. We'll tell you more about weather coming up in just a little bit. Right now it's time for KRIM's Community Spotlight. And with us today in the studio, we have Garrett Goldman with us, and he's the district manager for what used to be known as the Northern Gila County Sanitary District, but it's got a new name, and we're going to talk a little bit about that new name and why they have this new name. But first of all, Garrett, thanks for coming down and being with us. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Now, it's important to, I guess, right off the bat, make sure people understand there's not been a change of ownership or anything, no fundamental changes that way, just did a name change. And it's, after being around Payson for the last 40 years, I can say, quite frankly, I was getting kind of tired of saying Northern Gila County Sanitary District. It's not one of those things that just trips off your tongue. The new name is Green Valley Water.
Green Valley Water, a lot easier to say than Northern Gila County Sanitary District. Try saying that one 5 times.
Well, and one of the other things too is that when you have that, just the word sanitary district, some people think maybe you're out collecting trash and stuff like that, and that's not the case either.
No, that is not the case. Sanitary in a lot of places in the country, it means trash, and we take several phone calls a week.
Really?
Of people wanting either new trash service or we missed their trash can.
So it's no sense calling you to ask if I can get a trash can from you then?
No, you won't get very far. We will give you phone numbers though, or you can get it.
So you'd be happy to tell people where to go. I like that. The bottom line though is that this is again just a name change, and one of the questions that I asked you beforehand was if there had been any fundamental operational changes out there. I mean, I know that I've been really impressed with the sanitary district for a lot of years, and that to have such a state-of-the-art plant in little old Payson was a bit of a coup, I thought, especially back when this all first came about. But that's all exactly the same. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, no fundamental changes in the organization. Everything's the same. It's just a name change at this point. So
right. And now for people that, we've had an awful lot of folks that have moved to Payson here in the last few years, and they might not be aware of everything that, and I've got to force myself to say Green Valley Water now, and I like it a lot. People, they may not realize it, but they see the benefits of Green Valley Water driving around Payson, and probably, one of those places that would be, front and center would be Green Valley Park.
Yes, the water that comes into Green Valley Park and keeps the lakes full is effluent from our treatment facility. We deliver during the summer, about 1 million gallons a day up to the park.
1 million gallons a day?
1 million gallons a day.
Wow. And then, as I recall, some of that actually percolates down and recharges the groundwater aquifers in that area. And I imagine you get there's got to be, during the summer months, some type of evaporation that you have to deal with as well.
Yeah, so the project, Green Valley Lakes itself, was a joint venture between the town of Payson and, at the time, the sanitary district.
Right.
As a groundwater recharge project. The other portion of it is it provides us a storage place so that we can deliver effluent to our reclaimed water customers throughout the community.
Right, and now when we talk about that, that includes a couple of different locations that actually benefit from that water as well.
Yeah, we actually have 5 different customers.
Wow.
Just kind of in sequential order, Payson Golf Course.
Right.
There, the Woodland Meadows Lake, which is at the development at the end of Longhorn Road on the west side of town. The high school and the middle school fields, softball, baseball, football, and the middle school activity field are all watered with our water. And then from there it goes on out to Chaparral Pines and the Rim.
When, and again, for people that aren't familiar, when we talk about reused effluent, that can kind of, maybe creep some people out just a little bit. But what I've always felt was really fascinating was the quality of the finished product that you turn out after everything is done there. I mean, it's in some reports that I've heard, even cleaner than tap water that you find in some places.
Well, it's one step away from tap water.
Right.
We produce a Class A reclaimed water, and that's the highest class of reclaimed water you can have in the state of Arizona per the Department of Environmental Quality. And to become potable water, it would have to go through one more filtration process, but it's very, very close.
Wow, interesting. And obviously, a lot of this was born out of, especially this partnership with the town of Payson, when we didn't have the Blue Ridge Reservoir as a water source, and with the split granite aquifers and a very finite amount of underground water storage here, this whole plan came together to not only do a great job of filtering the effluent to be able to water these fields and everything, so we weren't using tap water for that, but also again to recharge groundwater aquifers, which I mean, what a major win-win for everybody.
Oh, it's a great benefit for the community.
Yeah.
Our water, because we are at the tail end of the water cycle, if we didn't have a place to put it to where it could become our use by the community, it would go down American Gulch, which ends up in the East Verde River, and ultimately the Verde River, and down to the valley. So this gives us the opportunity to be able to keep this resource back in the community and a benefit for the community.
You're going to have to make it harder for me to come up with one-liners, because when you start talking about you being at the tail end of the water cycle, it's just too easy to go after some of those lines. I'm trying really hard to be nice. Now, again, how many years has it been that we've been watering the ball fields and everything with reclaimed effluent?
Oh, I'd have to go back and look, but it's been over 20 or 25 years, yes.
A really significant endeavor that I think, if I remember correctly, there was other communities that were kind of coming and watching what was being done here to try and learn from some of the successes.
Yes, we actually have a lot of different wastewater treatment facilities come and tour our plant. Like you said earlier, it is a state-of-the-art plant, and we have technologies there that other places are looking to implement. So they come and see how they work, talk to us, and ultimately usually end up implementing them.
Interesting. One of the questions I asked you about before going on the air today, I was curious, for folks that head out the Dalbeebe Ranch Road to the west of Payson, you drive by the what used to be the Northern Gila County Sanitary District, now just Green Valley Water, but you drive by the plant there, and there was these big concrete sludge beds where the solids would, I guess, dry in the sun and then were hauled off, and there had been some applications where that was being used in agricultural endeavors, but I guess that's not the case anymore.
No, we stopped doing that. I believe it was about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We stopped land applying our sludge. Now it goes up to waste management at the transfer station at the airport, and then they haul it down to the Butterfield landfill, which is outside of Mobile in the South Valley down there. And a lot of people would say, well, doesn't this have a better use? It actually has a very beneficial use in the landfill. It helps with the decomposition in the landfill. It's a totally organic sludge that goes down there, and they see benefits from it.
Outstanding. And how often do you have to haul stuff down there?
Well, we haul every day, except Saturday and Sunday because they're not open,
Right.
up to the transfer station.
Wow. Now, has everyone pretty much gotten away from the use of reused the sludge from that in the agriculture?
No, there are still facilities that do that. Usually they're bigger facilities to where it makes more economical sense.
Right.
We haul anywhere between 7 and 8 tons of this a day out, and that doesn't go very far when you land apply it. So it doesn't make economic sense for the smaller facilities.
Well, and it's also reassuring to hear that Payson isn't as full of it as other communities.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Now, with Green Valley Water, one of the things that I've been very intrigued with is I've been down there before and taken a tour of the facility, and it's really a fascinating thing to see. Is that something that people can still check into?
Oh yes, we offer tours, regularly scheduled tours every month, and you can visit our website, greenvalleywater.org, to sign up for that. And if that scheduled time doesn't work for you, just call us. We'd be happy to show you what we do.
Right. So, from the time the sewage arrives at Green Valley Water until the this reusable effluent goes out the other end, how long of a process is that?
Well, with today's flows that we have, it's about a 24-hour process.
Right. Wow. And so there's different without, I mean, getting overly technical here, there's different phases that it goes through, different cycles or whatever?
Yeah, there's basically 7 different steps in our process, and that's all identified on the website.
Right.
They're all the way from preliminary treatment, which is when it first enters the plant, to our UV disinfection,
Right.
which is at the very end of the plant.
And no talk at all about the flocculation of the microbial mass.
No, I'm trying to keep it down today.
Good job. They not only shorten the name, but they shorten some of the descriptions as well. So now, how long have you been with Green Valley Water?
I've been formally with them for just over 3 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And where'd you come here from?
Well, I've actually graduated high school from Pitt.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And just hung around.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to come back in the mid-90s and jumped on it to come home.
It's a hard place to want to leave, that's for
It
sure.
is.
Now, as far as one of the other questions that I was intrigued to hear your answer to this morning earlier was that a lot of folks know that the town of Payson has rights now to water up at what forever I've known as Blue Ridge Reservoir, but C.C. Cregan Reservoir, and a lot of talk about this being a 100-year water supply, and now Payson has the opportunity to build out a little more robustly, whereas before a lot of the growth was kind of stalled a little bit as a result of water concerns. What does that all mean for the sanitary district? I mean, are you still in line to be able to handle whatever Payson throws at you, basically?
Yes, we are. We maintain a master plan and of our current boundaries, but also projected boundaries, which includes all of the area within the town of Payson boundaries. And we have projected that we should be able, or that should produce about 3.5 million gallons a day, above the 1 million gallons a day we're seeing today. And our plant is currently constructed, it is a design rating of 3.5 million gallons.
Wow. And so got plenty of lifespan left with that.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to some of these other concerns that I know before going on the air you'd mentioned that there's other routine maintenance things that go far beyond just out at the plant itself. You have different efforts that are kind of a constant ongoing thing all over the community.
Yes. Well, the plant is the thing you can see.
Right.
When you drive in, you see the basins, you see the water flowing. We have over about 130 miles of gravity sewer line.
Wow.
Almost 20,
130 miles.
130 miles.
Wow.
Almost 25 miles of low pressure sewer line, 14 lift stations. There are 10 miles of force mains, and then that doesn't even get into the reclaimed water distribution system out there. So all of that is actually equal in value to what's inside the plant.
So while all this stuff does roll downhill, it needs help sometimes.
It does. Yeah, you can actually make it roll uphill, but it takes pumps and power.
Well, and you're talking about lift stations, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned that there's, was there one that you're working on right now, doing maintenance work on?
Yes, the Chaparral Pines lift station number 3, which is the major lift station, takes everything basically from that Tyler Parkway corridor and pumps it over to the hill up behind Bashes so that it can flow gravity from that point down to the treatment facility.
And, to me that sounds fascinating because I mean you've got you've got some solids, you've got a little bit of all kinds of things, and pumping it up over a hill. I mean that has to be some pretty significant equipment, I would think, doing that.
Well, the new lift station is going to have 3 60 horsepower pumps in it.
Wow.
And 2 of them will operate at the same time in order to transfer the sewage from that side over to what we call the west side basin.
And it's an interesting perspective too to find out. We've got over 100 miles of sewer line, and that's just here in Payson, right?
Yes.
Wow. And again, just a bit of perspective. You don't really think about there being hundreds of miles of stuff underground, but I guess that's what it takes to make it all happen. And I know that originally, obviously, Payson, a lot of folks were on individual septic systems and things like that. Is that slowly changing? I mean, we still have some parts of town that still are on their own septic, or?
There are a few places that still have septic, but generally they're the bigger lots, dispersed houses.
Right.
Anything that has any density is on our system.
Interesting. The as far as the number of people working out there? I mean, roughly, I know I'm throwing weird things at you off the cuff
That's
here,
all
but
right.
I mean, roughly how many people do we have working at the same?
Right now we have 22 people.
22 people. So it
Yeah.
takes a lot just to keep this maintenance and everything going. And I imagine a lot of different types of abilities and
Yes, all the way from our administration office, which is a standalone, we do everything in-house there,
right.
to treatment operations, collections operations. We maintain a Department of Health Services certified laboratory out there for all of our testing that we have to do. But 22, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, compared to other agencies, we are a very lean machine.
Well, actually, I was thinking, from everything you're talking about, especially when you're talking the maintenance of 100 and some miles of sewer pipe and then your plant and the lab there and everything else, to be able to get that all done with only 20 some people, that's actually sounding pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think that we have almost $65 million in assets that
Wow.
we maintain, and you're doing that with 22 people. It's a very good staff.
But it takes a lot to do what y'all do.
Yes, it does.
You roughly know about how many acres out there at the plant itself?
The entire area is about 15 acres,
Right.
but the plant itself is sitting on about maybe 5 to 7 of them.
Right, very interesting. So now with the one more go around with the sludge beds, are those used at all anymore?
No, we don't use them. We do store some materials down there, but they are not used for their original intent.
I've noticed, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but I've noticed for quite a while now going out the Doll Baby Ranch Road, it wasn't quite as effervescent an experience as it might have been a couple of years ago. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
I'm not sure effervescent is the right word there, but what the heck, So are there any other things about the sanitary district that you think people would be surprised to hear about?
One of the things that amazes me there is our entire treatment process is chemical free. We do that completely through biology
Right.
and maintaining a biomass within the plant, and that actually performs all of the treatment for us. So we add one chemical at the very, very end of the process, and that's before we take the sludge out of the system
Right.
there, and that chemical does not make it back into the treatment process. So
That is pretty amazing. The when it just the technology that goes into all this, I think, is a fascinating thing for people to see. And again, if you'd like to take a tour, you can find some details on their new website. Again, that new website is greenvalleywater.org, and they're launching that in the middle of this month. Are they up and running yet?
it is up and running right now.
Oh, good.
It's still a work in progress, but it will get you there.
Outstanding. And so you can find out more about that. It's just really, I think it's a fascinating place to go see, especially when you're talking the volume every day that you're all dealing with. Just from a science nerd standpoint, it's pretty amazing. And one of the other things when we talk about unusual things that people might be surprised to hear, I remember years ago one of the folks I interviewed one of the folks out there. And had to ask the question of the most unusual thing that's come down the pipe. And at that time, I believe the story that kind of had us all chuckling was somebody's false teeth. And the only thing stranger than that is I believe that, if I remember correctly, that as the story went, they actually were returned to their owner, which just brought up way too many potential one-liners with me, so I had to walk away.
Yes.
But I mean, do you find that kind of stuff? I mean, just unusual, like, wow, how'd that get here?
Yeah, we find stuff from money, toy cars
Oh,
that
yeah.
get flushed down toilets. Before my time there, that we actually found some pans from the jail. Somebody had flushed those down. Nice pink pants showed up
Nice.
there.
I have no idea what happened to my pants.
Yeah. And I think probably the neatest story that I've heard is a lady accidentally flushed her wedding ring
Ooh.
and called down there. She was in a panic. The staff looked at where she was in the system, kind of timed it out to where it would get there, and then actually picked through the screenings at the front end of the plant and found it for her.
Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, just that whole thing of being able to figure out about when it should be, hitting you at the plant, and then of course all the labor that goes after that. That's amazing. So well, anyway, the bottom line is the sewage treatment plant that had the really long name that everyone got tired of saying they've improved things. It's now just greenvalleywater.org. Nothing else has changed. All the same people, all the same technology, and poised to be operational for many years to come.
Generations to come.
Gotta love it. We've been talking this morning with their district manager for Green Valley Water, Garrett Goldman. And again, if you'd like to find out more about what they have going on, or even take a tour of the facility out there, just go online to greenvalleywater.org, and you should be able to get all your questions answered there. Garrett, again, thanks for coming down. Thanks for what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
You bet. And thank you for tuning in and listening this morning to Community Spotlight on KRIM. Got to get you back to more of your favorite music. Have a number of tunes to get to here. As a matter of fact, got some stuff coming up from REO Speedwagon, the Steve Miller Band, Loggins and Messina, and a whole bunch more. But first, a quick look at Rim Country weather.
That's the quickest half an hour.
Well, I just figured